Well, hello, everybody. Very nice to be here. I was here many years ago. I can't remember what year. Does anybody at all? It was many, many years ago. So it's nice to be here again and see the progress, that you've all made individually in your practice and also the center as a group of people. So, yeah, we just flew in from Washington State, came here, give a talk, drive back to SFO, and fly out tonight to Taipei. So for people who think that monastics do nothing but sit and look at their belly button, I can tell you that's not true. Okay, so we're going to start with a few recitations. I think they're going to be put on the screen. Is that, or some screen, or? Okay. Yeah. So it's nice at the beginning to take refuge. We know what spiritual tradition we're following, and also to generate bodhicitta, so that we know why we're following that tradition, what our aim in our practice is. It's not just, oh, well, I want to do something spiritual, and Tibetan stuff is kind of cool. They have all these colorful things, lots of brocade. People who are incarnate, I mean, it's like, wow, really pizzazz. So, yeah. So I think I'll do that. No, that's not why we're here, is it? Yeah, we're here because we have some feeling that there is more to life than what we are experiencing so far. Yeah. And we're looking for guidance on how to live a good life in this very crazy world. Does the world feel crazy to you? Yeah, it feels so crazy to me. And yet here we are. And this is the situation that we practice in. Some people want the perfect situation in order to practice. Everything's quiet, everything's nice, it's clean. Yeah. And then I sit down and I go into samadhi somewhere. Yeah. And so they keep looking for the perfect place and they never get it. Yeah. And when they do, if they do find something, they sit down to meditate and their mind is like bananas bouncing up the wall. So it's a rather humbling experience, isn't it? When we come to the Dharma and we have to look at what's going on inside of our own mind. It's quite humbling. So when we take refuge and generate bodhicitta, we're beginning to change all of that and steer our mind in a positive direction. Okay, so begin by imagining in the space in front of you the Buddha. He has a body made of golden light. And he's looking at you with complete acceptance and compassion and wanting to help. And we'll chant the prayer. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create, by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create, by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create, by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. And we'll recite the four immeasurables. And as we recite them, try and make the aspirations that they're expressing, try and make those aspirations your aspirations, your deepest aspirations for other living beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. Okay, so come home to your breath and just watch your breath for a couple of minutes. We'll let the mind settle down. And with a motivation to be of benefit to all living beings and aspiring for full awakening as the way or the state in which to live, in which we can be of the greatest benefit. So with that kind of motivation, then we'll share the Dharma this evening. Okay. So I was asked to speak about the 8 worldly concerns. Are you sure you want me to talk about that? Are you really sure? Really? Okay, here we go. Yeah, I say that because Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopil were my first teachers. And Rinpoche I went to my first Kopan course, and Rinpoche for a good deal of the course talked about the evil thought of the 8 worldly concerns, attachment to the happiness of only this life. Yeah. And who was he talking to? Well, we were sitting in this tent at Copan because they didn't have, Copan's been totally rebuilt and different from when I first went there in 1975. So, for the course, they built a tent out of straw mats with a corrugated roof made out of tins, that were cut up. And the fleas, we shared the gompa, the tent with fleas. And the audience was a bunch of hippies. And, in those days, I don't know if Kathmandu still has this street called Freak Street. Yeah, but this was where all the freaks went. Freaks meant hippies. Okay. So, we would all been down there and, bought some marijuana or hashish or whatever else was floating around. And then people would hear about the lamas up at Kopan Monastery and would kind of, uh, take their stash of drugs, eat a final piece of chocolate cake, listen to the music, that they were used to having, and then separate from all of that pleasure and walk up the hill to Copan and sit down. And, because it was kind of cool, who are these people, and yeah, we had all read Lost Horizons and thinking of Shangri-La and, yeah. So people would come up and sit for the course and say to Lama, when Lama Yeshe was there, Lama, what do you think about dropping some drugs and then meditating? All those visualizations you're teaching us, Lama, with drugs? Wow. We would have fantastic, the colors, the light streaming in, filling us. This is what we want. Yeah. And, Lama will give you some, and then we can all meditate together. And Lama would look at us and he said, "You're already hallucinating, dear. You don't need to take drugs." And what he was referring to was, us ordinary beings project inherent existence on ourselves, on other people, on every other phenomena, and we hallucinate. What our senses are telling us is not how things exist, but we think it is. Yeah, just really like a hallucination. So he said, you don't need to take drugs. Yeah. So Lama was how they have a good cop and a bad cop? Yeah, so Lama was the good cop. And he made us laugh and, he was great. And then Rinpoche would come and teach. And, it was it was the disadvantages of samsara. So you have the 3 sufferings, the 6 sufferings, the 8 sufferings. Yeah, if you like numbers, Buddhism is the religion for you. There's lots of lists of different things. Yeah, so Rinpoche would talk about all of that and the 8 worldly dharmas. Yeah. He loved speaking about the 8 worldly dharmas. And we would sit there, having just come from sense pleasure deluxe, as much as you could get sense pleasure deluxe in Kathmandu those days. We had just come from that. And, and Rinpoche starts out saying, well, look at your life. And when you just live according to the 8 worldly concerns, what is your life like? And are you happy? And what kind of karma do you create? And then he would go into a description about the evil thought of the 8 worldly concerns. Attachment to the happiness of only this life. And of course, all we knew was attachment to the happiness of only this life. Yeah? I mean, who do you think about all day? Yeah, who's the object of your thoughts? Me. Yeah, yourself. Yeah. What do you think about in terms of yourself from the time you get up in the morning till the time you go to bed, and even in your dreams? What do you dream about? What do you think about? Yeah. First thing is, I want what I want when I want it. And the world owes it to me, and I'm going after it, whatever it is. And the second thing is, I don't want things that interfere with my happiness and my pleasure. So all day long, from the moment we wake up, I mean, 25/8, yeah, all we're thinking about is me and my pleasure and what interferes with my pleasure and may cause me suffering. Yeah, and this is considered normal in the West, isn't it? And this is what our society tells us is the most important thing, is our pleasure and getting what we want, and getting rid of everything that interferes with getting with what we want, or everything that gives us pain. And we are told this by our families, by society, that this is the meaning of our life. Yeah. But if you're, some people stop or pause at that thing and say, but we're all going to die one day. So of what value is a life spent just running after our own pleasure? Because when we die, we can't take any of those things with us. They all stay here. All the pleasure we experienced is just a memory. Yeah. So now you have your phone, with all your pictures and your whole life in your phone. Yeah. People's lives are very compact now. They're kind of 3x5. Yeah. Maybe 4x6. You have a big phone. Yeah. All day long, like this. Yeah. The whole life, isn't it? Yeah. And then we die. And of what use was all of it in the long term? Because all that pleasure's gone, and all our pain and problems disappear at the time of death too. Yeah. And what happens after death? Well, depends, what you were taught as a kid. Yeah. In Buddhism, we learn that there's a continuity of consciousness. Yeah. The body dies, but the consciousness continues on and will take another body according to the karma that we've created. Karma meaning our actions of body, speech, and mind. Yeah. And so Buddhism says, well, you're having a good time this life, but it's not going to last very long. And what are you going to be next life? And are you going to continue to just go round and around and around in this cycle of existence called samsara. Are you just going to, we've been born infinite times, died infinite times. Are we going to keep doing that? Or at some point, are we going to get fed up and want to get out? And what about other people? If we get out, do we just kind of say, ciao, everybody, good luck? I've attained nirvana. I'm off. I'm free. Yeah, I wish you well. Yeah, is that our attitude towards other people? We don't care. Yeah, or we only care when they give us what we want. Yeah. So, this is our mental landscape of our society and our families and how we're brought up. And then Rinpoche talks about the 8 worldly concerns. So, how many of you have heard about the 8 worldly concerns before? Oh, you have. Okay. Oh, you were very brave to ask me to talk about this. You knew what you're getting into. Oh. So, yeah, I have to put some explanation first. The talking about the 8 worldly concerns is not saying that pleasure is bad and that we shouldn't be happy. Talking about the 8 worldly concerns is saying what causes us problems is not pleasure, it's clinging attachment to that pleasure. It's the clinging attachment that causes the problems, because when we're clinging to something, we want it. And when I want something, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get what I want. And if that means stepping on somebody else's toes or lying to them or cheating, that's okay. Because I want to get what I want. And society tells me that, it's all okay. Just don't get caught. Yeah. There are some excellent examples of that nowadays, don't you think? Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then you get caught. Yeah. And then he's very clever. Everything he's accused of doing, he then accuses everybody else of doing. Yeah, I should have learned that as a kid. I mean, I did. I always blame my brother. Yeah. Okay. So the 8 worldly concerns. Yeah. So they come in 4 pairs. Yeah. The first part of the pair is, our attachment, our delight. The second part of each pair is what we don't like. So I'll just name them and then go through and explain them a little bit. So the first pair is attachment to material possessions. Yeah. And being upset when we, are impoverished, when we can't get the possessions we want, when they get broken, when they grow old or, decay, or they're out of fashion. Okay, so that's the first person attachment, wanting them, and, and then upset when we're separated. Second pair, attachment to praise and approval, and aversion to blame and disapproval. This one's a big one. Third one is attachment to having a good reputation and aversion to being notorious, having a bad reputation. And then the fourth pair is attachment or delight in sense pleasure, nice things to see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, and aversion to things that are unpleasant. So this, I mean, this kind of encompasses most of our life, doesn't it? We're looking for four of the, the positive ones of each pair and trying to get far away from the other ones. And spent our whole life is this way. Okay, let's go back to the first one. Attachment to material possessions and money. Yeah, well, we're suckers for that one, aren't we? Yeah, because we're taught that if you want to be a successful human being, that is measured in terms of how much money you make. Yeah, people who make a lot of money are more valuable. They have more power, yeah, more fame, more say-so. And, they're loved more. And, we want all this stuff. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? I mean, Miss California, you know that. Yeah. And you need, I grew up in Southern California. So, you need your nice house. And then, of course, a vacation place in the desert. Yeah. Or in the mountains. And a yacht that wouldn't hurt at all. Yeah. And now you need the latest gadget. I don't know, iPhone, what is it? How many numbers do they have now? Huh? Oh, you wear them as glasses? Oh, goodness. Yeah, but we wanted the latest widgets, the latest, now everybody, wants to do artificial intelligence, and we want the whole shebang. And then you have to have a car, and according to your career, you have to have a car that shows your career. Yeah, I had a friend who, when I taught in Seattle, and he came to the center. He was a doctor, and he drove this old red car. Wow. A doctor driving an old car. Who would have heard? I mean, most of them, they're in their Lexus, their Beamers, whatever it is. Okay. So you have to have a car that matches your career, and your spouse has to match your career too. Yeah. And your house and everything too. This is who you present yourself as to the world. Okay. Then when your house burns down, okay, no, we usually know whose house burns down. Well, at the Abbey, we had to evacuate last summer because the forest fire was just around the corner. We weren't sure if we were going to come back to an Abbey or not. We did, but it was close. Yeah. But, things happen to our possessions and they break. Yeah. And you just get the thing that's like the you get, what is it? iPhone, I don't know, 1001. And as soon as you get it and you finally figure out how to use it, it's old because they have iPhone 1002. Yeah. So you got to go out and buy that one. Then what do you do with the first one? Ooh. Yeah. So, and after 9/11, people remember 9/11? Some of you were kind of young then. But 9/11, what advice were we told? What made us a good citizen after 9/11? Yep. Get mad at the people who bombed us and go shopping, because shopping was good for the economy. So we were patriotic Americans by going to the mall. That's what we were told. It's true, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. That's what we were told by the president, no less. Yeah. Okay. So we go round and around and around in circles for material things. And often we work so hard to get something, and then we get it, and it doesn't give us the happiness it's supposed to. Yeah. I had a friend when I was in school, in high school, he wanted a Porsche so bad. He really wanted a Porsche. He asked his parents for a Porsche. He complained he didn't have a Porsche. He saved up all of his nickels and dimes to buy a Porsche. He was so dissatisfied. Yeah, because this was what would bring him ultimate happiness. So finally, he went to school. He got a job. He bought a Porsche, and then it didn't bring him the happiness. It was great for like a week or two. And then it was like same old, same old. Yeah. So we can see that with lots of things. So that's the two involve material possessions and money. And I mean, to show how much our life is involved in that, when the economy went down, I forget, maybe it was, yeah, sometime. Yeah, in '08, there was a recession. And I remember reading that one of the guys who was very high up in Volkswagen, the Volkswagen company, committed suicide because it was a recession and he lost a lot of his fortune. Yeah. Okay. You can see, dear Donnie is having some problems these days. Yeah. And he's not very happy. Almost $500 million he has to put up. But he said he had a few billion. And he said his name was worth 10 billion by itself, just his brand. Okay. So we'll talk about reputation. That's the third couple. So hold on. We're coming to that one. Okay. So the second one was attachment to praise and approval, and aversion to criticism and disapproval. Yeah. This one, I don't know. I wonder sometimes if this one is more important to us than even the material things. Yeah. Because we look to other people to tell us who we are. Yeah. And what other people, the feedback other people give us and what they think about us matters so much to us, that when we get praised, we are over the moon. And when we get criticized, we have self-doubt, we're upset, we're angry. Okay. And so many of our actions are geared towards manipulating the situation and manipulating other people so that they will say nice things to us and think well of us. True, isn't it? Yeah. We are very good at creating a persona and presenting our persona to other people, and then molding ourselves so we become what we think they think we should be. Do you get what I'm saying? We try and become what we think other people think we should be. Because if we are, then they will praise us, they will approve of us. If we aren't, they will criticize us and trash us. And what other people think, it is so related to our own self-esteem. Yeah. Now, the problem with relying on other people to tell us who we are and what we're like is there's a few problems. One is they don't really know what's going on inside of our mind. And what's going on inside of our mind is a big factor in this. Second, they're projecting their own stuff onto us and seeing us through a filter of their values, their emotional insecurities and so on. Okay. And also, some of what they think of us is it's misconstrued. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever had the experience, but I've had it a couple of times in my life where I get totally opposite feedback about who I am and what I'm like and my value from different people in a short period of time. There was one time I was living in the monastery in France, and one nun came up and said to me, oh, you're such a good role model for the junior nuns, and you keep your precepts very well. And you're just very good as a nun. I really respect that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hope my teacher heard that, and he would think well of me too. And then a half an hour later, somebody else came, another nun came, and said, you are so degenerate. You don't keep your precepts very well. You break things. You're difficult to get along with. What's going on with you? Yeah, within a half an hour, I got those two things. Now, if you believe everything people say about you, when that happens to you, you get really confused. Who am I? The one this person said or the one that person said? Yeah, we never think of looking inside and evaluating ourselves. But that's the key. What do I think about how I act, how I speak, and the state of my mind? Yeah, because I'm the one who knows whether I have good motivations or rotten motivations. I'm the one who has to decide that, who looks inside. Yeah, it's not other people. But we don't look inside and evaluate ourselves very much. And when we do evaluate ourselves, yeah, we don't know how to do it very accurately. So, we evaluate ourselves, and one day it's like, I am so intelligent. I am a leader. I can do this. I can do that. All the other people at work, they look to me and I can solve their problems. And I'm better than my brother. I'm better than my sister. Yeah, I'm good. That's some days. Then the next day we look and, we're in a bad mood and it's like, I am such a disaster. Nobody loves me. And why? Because something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me, and nobody loves me. I can't do anything right. I don't have any good qualities. All these people have so many talents and abilities and intelligence and contribute, and me, nothing. And we go back and forth between these two. So one day we are puffed up and arrogant, and the next day we are discouraged and down in the dumps. Yeah. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. So to learn to evaluate ourselves, accept ourselves. Yeah. So even when we make mistakes and we have faults, to accept that Okay. Instead of going on this litany of what a bad, awful, horrible person I am, we just accept that. And then knowing that whatever we accept now in terms of our bad qualities can be changed and we can improve and we can develop good qualities. Yeah. So we don't get depressed. We don't judge ourselves. Instead, we develop a motivation to try and do better in the future, try and be a kinder person. Okay. But it takes time to learn how to evaluate ourselves well and to really pull ourselves out of this incredible, horrible, self-critical mind that we get stuck in, you know, of nobody loves me. I can't do anything right. Yeah, what do you mean nobody loves you? Come on. That's stupid. Really? You know, everybody has people who love them. Yeah. People may express their love for you in a way that isn't your way, how you want them to express their love, but they have that. Yeah. But what's more important than other people loving us is that we love ourselves. Yeah. And that we know that we have the potential to become fully awakened Buddhas. And we have the confidence because we have a precious human life. We have teachers, we have intelligence, the Dharma's around. Yeah. Yes, I can learn, I can develop all these qualities the same as the Buddha. Okay. But the one about, going back to the eight worldly concerns, this one of, wanting praise and approval. And boy, when we get criticized, what happens? True, isn't it? It's either, how dare you say that about me? I work so hard. I didn't do this. I can do that. You're prejudiced. I'm not appreciated here. What's wrong? Leave me alone. Get off my case. Yeah. So it's either that when somebody criticizes us, or, oh no, what they said is true. Oh, I'm so terrible. Oh, and we slink away and go to our room and take out the lead balloons and we have a pity party. How terrible I am and nobody loves me. Yeah. Okay. Anybody here have pity parties? Yeah, they're great, aren't they? Yeah, you can sit there, you're the star of your own pity party. Yeah. And when the person who just criticized you comes over and says, oh, are you unhappy about something? No. Yeah. Yeah, we're delightful people sometimes, aren't we? Yeah. I'm too much in my pity party to talk to anybody else. Okay. So that involves, that set. Well, all four sets involve us in competition with other people. I want more and better possessions than other people. I want more praise and approval than other people. Yeah. And I don't want, to lose these things. Okay. Then we'll move on to the third set. Good reputation and bad reputation. Yeah. So the difference between the one of approval and praise and this one is approval and praise is more with your personal relationships. Yeah, with kind of it's a narrower field. Reputation is what a group of people think about us. Yeah. We don't care what group it is, whatever group we belong to, we want people in that group to think well of us. Okay. So if you grow bonsai trees, then you want to be known as the expert bonsai tree person. Yeah. If you play football, wow, I want to be, what's his name? Who's Taylor's boyfriend? Huh? Kelsey. Yeah. I want to be like him. Yeah. Then I have this wonderful reputation. And of course, Taylor's slow adds on to my reputation. Yeah. Then everybody knows I am such a good football player. Yeah. I'm so in shape. Look at those muscles. No, don't look at them. There aren't any. um, look how much money I make. Yeah. So I have a good reputation. Then other people have a bad reputation. Yeah. Then, and this is what's really interesting about Donnie. Okay. I'm not talking politics. Okay. I've been warned that as a nun, I should not talk politics. But I'm not talking politics. But Donnie is such a good example of so many things in the Lam Rim. Seriously, he is such a good example. You read the paper and it's really like reading a Lam Rim text. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah. And does he have a good reputation or a bad reputation? He has both of them, doesn't he? His MAGA people. Now, he has these things. He put out a new ad that the one of the thing, what everything he's going to do or has done. And the phrase that they keep saying in the ad, and then God sent Donald Trump. Seriously. That's the question. Yeah. But, making himself out as like, the next Jesus or something. Yeah. So some people think he's the best thing in the world. And other people, it's like this guy is out of his rocker, he's nuts. Yeah, I won't ask you who thinks what. But, does he have a good reputation or bad? He actually doesn't really care. He just wants to be in the news every day. Any talk about me, he thinks, is good talk. Yeah. Because if people talk about me, it means I exist. That's the deepest fear sentient beings have, is not existing. Yeah. So even if people hate you, you exist. It satisfies something. Better if they love you. But even if they don't, it shows I exist. That clinging to I. So what we do to have a good reputation. Yeah, think about it in terms of your life. What do you do to impress people? Yeah. We all have our own little, or maybe big, ways of manipulating people and presenting ourselves as, some marvelous thing. You come to the Dharma Center. Yeah. You want to be the person who can sit in samadhi the longest. Yeah. So that everybody else, when they open their eyes in the middle of meditation and look around the room, yeah, every time they look at you, you're. And they never see when you open your eyes and check out what they're doing because you're in samadhi. And you want to be able to sit cross-legged and have a fantastic reputation, the best meditator. Yeah. Yeah. Going back to praise, a little praise from our teachers would we wouldn't object to that. I was once in retreat, solitary retreat, and I had the thought, I was meditating, I had the thought, Rinpoche, I think he has psychic powers. He sees right now what a good meditator I am. And then I burst into laughter because that thought showed what a rotten meditator I was. And thinking that I was going to impress my teacher by, my phony baloney stuff. That's really pathetic. Yeah. One time I went to Rinpoche and I hadn't been able to do something that I wanted to do. And I was just telling him how sorry I was that I wasn't able to do that and offering all my apologies. And Rinpoche, I was saying, blah, 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 and Rinpoche would go, then Rinpoche, blah, 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 blah. Then, yeah, I'm pouring out all my apologies. And all he says is, then. He has a very interesting way of teaching me. These are all teachings. These are all teachings. So, having a good reputation, it's like, and as soon as you have it, you're terrified of losing it. Aren't you? Yeah. Because when you're on top of the Eiffel Tower, the only way to go is down. And we're afraid of going down. Okay, let's go on to the fourth pair. I'm looking at the clock because the plane won't wait for me. I mean, the plane won't wait for me. It should wait for me. After all, I'm me. Yeah. And don't you think you're the most important person in the world? The plane should wait. Anyway. So the last pair is attachment to good sense pleasures and aversion to bad ones. Okay. So we may think, oh, I'm not so attached to those things. But we all decorate our homes with things we like to see, right? And paint it the color we like, and the paintings on the wall that we like. Yeah, when we travel on vacation, we want to go to beautiful places and see interesting things. We want to see people who are attractive. Yeah, we don't want to say people that look like me. I want you to see what I used to look like 50 years ago. Yeah. But even then, I wasn't so gorgeous. But now in my 70s, ooh, okay, yeah. So we want to see pretty things, attractive people. Okay. We like to hear nice sounds. Yeah. Praise and things like that. But we also like to hear good music. Yeah. Music for our generation, not our parents' generation, not our children's generation. Yeah. Did you like the music your parents listened to? No, it was really, my parents like, this is really so dated. Johnny Mathis, oh, they thought he was fantastic. Who else did they like? Oh, yeah. What was the name? Perry Como. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, all those things. And the movie stars Jack Benny. And yeah. Okay. Yeah. Uh, I like Mary Poppins. Yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. What's the rest of the verse? If you say it loud enough, you really sounded precocious. Then what's
So
the
the next line is even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious.
precocious?
If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious.
This is why you have an assistant. Remember. So, yeah. So we like to hear nice sounds. We don't like nails on a blackboard, but nobody uses blackboards nowadays, except in third world countries. Yeah, now we use whiteboards, don't we? With what? Yeah, those kind of pens, that easy erase pens. Yes. Okay. Um, yeah, so nice sounds. Smells. Okay. The smell of fresh baked bread, unless you are gluten free, then win some and lose some. Fresh baked chocolate chip cookies, they're good, huh? Yeah. Yeah, nice smells. We don't want to go to India and smell pee and poo on the street when we walk down, do we? We want to smell nice smells. Yeah. So now they have perfume called Samsara.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have some project called Nirvana. I don't know. Is it a perfume or is it something else? It's what it
Music band.
it's a band. Okay. You can see how out of it I am. Yeah. Okay. So nice smells. Food. Yeah, we want good food. The kind of food we like. Yeah, from our own culture or to try from different cultures, but it should be good food. It should be fresh. You want dairy-free, you want gluten-free, you want very spicy, you want no spicy. Yeah. You like beans, you don't like beans. You like chocolate. Nobody doesn't like chocolate. But we want what tastes good to us. Mhm.
Look good too.
Huh?
And now the food should look good too.
Oh, yeah, the food should definitely look good. Yes. And it smell good, everything. Yeah. And it should be served to me on a silver platter. Okay. Which I don't polish, somebody else polishes. Okay. Then we like nice physical touches. So the room has to be the right temperature. Yeah. This is always so nice when you do a group retreat. Yeah. And, one person gets up and closes the window, and the next person gets up and opens the window. Yeah. One person's too hot, one person's too cold. Yeah. We like soft touches. Yeah. Not something that's scratchy on our skin. Yeah. We want to touch nice, pleasant things. You know, my cat is, her coat is so nice to touch. Yeah. We want us at the bed. Okay. Our bed, if you like soft beds, it has to be this degree of soft. If you like hard beds, it has to be this degree of hard. Okay. If you go out to eat and they cook something too much or not enough, yeah, you make a fuss. I ordered this, and it's you serve me this. Really rub it in to the poor waiter who was not the cook. But, shout at him a little bit. Yeah. Have you ever been with somebody who's made a big fuss in a restaurant about the food? And you feel like crawling under the table? Unless it's you making the big fuss, in which case you hope everybody hears, including the chef. Okay. We're very picky, the feeling on our skin, temperature, hard, soft, rough, smooth, hunger. We don't like to be hungry. We don't like to be thirsty. Yeah, we get really upset. Okay, so you can see with 4 of these, the delight in possessions, praise and approval, good reputation, nice sense things, that we want them, we take delight in them, and then to think about what we do to get them. Yeah. Do we always tell the truth? Are we fair in our business dealings? Do we kind of brag about our possessions a little bit? Yeah. What do we do to get things? Yeah. What do we do when we lose things? If we get criticized, we go bananas, totally bananas. How could somebody say that about me? And this is one of Donnie's big threats now, is he has the image of being this big real estate mogul or model or whatever he is, mogul. And his whole company just got found out for fraud. Yeah. So, what your reputation, what happens then? So we get so tangled up. And you can see, I mean, this is why Donnie he's such a good example. Look what he's doing to try and have a good reputation and try and have praise and approval. Yeah. He has no compunction at all about lying. Yeah. I won the election. Yeah. It was rigged. I won it because I'm the best president possible. And I want that role again because I want everybody to look up to me. And I want to be able to have power over other people and have everybody in Congress, well, at least the Republicans in Congress, salivate every time they see me and sing my praises. I want them all to be terrified of me criticizing them so that they, just fall in line and praise me. He's having a terrible time of it now. I mean, 91 indictments, that's not so good for a good reputation. It's good for being famous. And that's what he would like. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? He's such a good example of these things. And that he's in such suffering. I mean, people look and say, this guy's, look, he's a billionaire, president, everybody, blah, blah, blah. He must be so happy. He has a trophy wife. This guy's really miserable. Yeah, if you hear what he's talking, just listen to what he says. That's not the speech of a person who is happy and satisfied. It's not the speech of somebody who feels good about themselves, who trusts other people. Yeah, just it's anguish. And he's willing to create any kind of karma to get what he wants, including destroying the country, in my humble opinions. But this is California, so I think most of you probably agree. We aren't in Orange County. But, it's a good example of what we're talking about. And the unhappiness, when those are our values, the positive 4 and not having the negative 4, when those are our values, our life is not happy, and what we do to get what we want is not only illegal, but immoral. And what we do when we get what we don't want, the criticism, the poverty, the bad reputation, the bad smells, people not doing what we want them to do. Yeah. Then again, what kind of actions do? We yell, we scream, we blame people. Sometimes people even get violent. You hear unpleasant words, you get violent. Yeah. So this is why, when Rinpoche would talk about the evil thought of the 8 worldly concerns, why he called it the evil thought of the 8 worldly concerns, because it makes us miserable now, and that it forces those 8, force us, through our very messed up mind that is full of afflictions, to create all sorts of horrible karma. And then who is it that experiences the results of the karma that we create? Ourselves. So when we act in a non-virtuous way, we may harm somebody else now, but we're harming ourselves as well, because we will experience the result of our own actions. Yeah. So these 8, we spend an inordinate amount of time and energy on these 8. And so they also become huge obstacles for our Dharma practice. So we have a precious human life, with all these good conditions to be able to learn the Dharma, practice the Dharma. And what do we do instead? We chase these 8 worldly concerns. Yeah. And without any understanding of how much energy in how many previous lifetimes we've spent to create the incredible amount of virtue and good karma to have this particular lifetime. Yeah, we don't think about that and are just concerned with our happiness in this lifetime. And so we can waste our whole life, or pretty much, a good chunk of it, and be miserable at the same time, thinking that we are doing our best to be successful and to get all the things that are going to make us happy. When you really look at at our situation, it's something, you know, that if we're thinking right, we have compassion for people, because you can see that the situation is completely fueled by misconceptions, by mental afflictions. Yeah. And that it just basically leads to a dead end. Hmm? So since we have, such an incredible opportunity in this lifetime, and we've worked so hard in so many previous lifetimes to purify, to accumulate merit, to implant Dharma seeds in our mind, then instead of, getting attached to possessions and approval and reputation and sense pleasure, and instead of having aversion for, not getting what we want, and poverty and blame and bad reputation and unpleasant sensations, instead of just, running around with that, let's do something really meaningful with our lives, like practice the meditations to generate love and compassion for other sentient beings. Practice the meditations to see the faults of samsara and develop the wish to get out of it. Yeah, practice the meditations to really care about all sentient beings and wanting to do our best to help them while they're in samsara, but to become a Buddha so we can help them get out of samsara. Yeah. So to spend our time and energy doing those kinds of things that can bring us a sense of fulfillment. It's not the giddiness of like, oh, I just won the lottery, but it's a deep sense of fulfillment and pleasure. Yeah. And then also knowing that when it comes time to die, we're not going to be attached to anything here. And we're going to be able to look back on our life and say, yeah, I did a reasonable job this lifetime. I didn't waste, my whole life chasing stupid agios. I used my life doing something useful. And so I don't need to worry about my next life. And hopefully I've been dedicating to meet reliable and fully qualified spiritual mentors and to have a good relationship with them and be led along the path to full awakening. So I can just, when I die, I go, no worry, no fear. And I know my life has been meaningful. Even if at our funeral, nobody turns up. Yeah. People are so attached often to their funeral. Yeah. Nancy Reagan, she had her whole funeral planned out way before she died. And when she died, she had her hair done. Can you imagine going to the beauty shop when you're a corpse? I mean, what does the poor hairstylist have to do? Yeah. Shows her clothes that she wants to be buried in, make sure that it was televised, that everybody's sitting there sobbing, missing Nancy and her astrologer. Yeah, you remember she practiced astrology. Yeah. It's amazing. And, I mean, who knows what's going to happen at Donnie's funeral? Yeah, Navalny's funeral. They're going to have a funeral in Moscow. I don't think he cares at all about his funeral. Yeah, that guy was in a totally different plane. Yeah. But yeah, he cares more about, what the effect he was, and the good he was able to do in his lifetime. Yeah. And he knows that when he dies, when he died, some people were going to hate him and some people were going to love him, but he didn't care. Yeah. Yeah. That's quite interesting to think about. Yeah. When you die, what's going to happen? And then, have you ever thought about when you die, other people are going to go through all your stuff? They're going to see what you have in your drawers. Yeah. Which now you keep your drawers closed. Yeah. But somebody, and maybe a few people, are going to go through every single thing. Yeah. And depending on what you've saved, yeah, all your possessions, they're going to go through your computer, look at all your files. Yeah. Oh, look at this letter that she wrote. Look at that letter. Yeah. But we want good reputations. We don't want people to, find certain things that we have in our drawers and then go around and tell everybody. It's really rather stupid, isn't it, to care about your reputation when you're dead? You're not even around to enjoy, Yeah, because when you die, of course, everybody has to cry. That's the polite thing to do. Whether they like you or not, they have to say nice things and cry, and then they go home and, say what they really think. It's true, isn't it? Yeah, we've all been to funerals. So, to really spend some time thinking what is meaningful in our lives. Yeah, what is meaningful? And what are our values? What is our ethical discipline? What is our ethical conduct? What do we think are the important ethical principles to live by? First thing. Second thing, how well do we do living according to them? Do I live according to what I say I believe? Or do I fudge? Yeah. This was one factor in me when I decided to ordain, because I saw that I had just a little bit of a double standard. Yeah, when politicians lied, so corrupt, so despicable. How could they lie? When I lied, it was to protect other people so their feelings didn't get hurt. It was really an act of kindness towards other people. Yeah. My lying was okay. Politicians lying, they're just corrupt. And when I saw that double standard, I said, I got to change. This ain't working. Okay. So, to be clear with ourselves about our own standards and then to see if we live according to them. I think generosity is a wonderful thing. It's the first of the 6 perfections. It's taught in all the Buddhist traditions. All people value generosity. Am I generous? I have to force myself to be generous. Yeah. When I lived in Dharamsala, It's after 8. Ooh,
Yeah.
it's
almost
8:17. We should have been in the car 2 minutes ago.
8:30. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
8:30.
8:30. Maybe the plane will wait for you.
No, I don't wait for me.
It's gonna leave me,
Yeah.
it's gonna leave me behind. But to really think deeply about this and then, see if we can live according to our principles. Okay, so maybe just a few questions or comments. Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to meet you in person. I followed you on YouTube and I actually got to know you through Nitya Shanti. I have to remember you had done a
Oh,
There a group that was in India, this teacher, he gave 2 talks on Tara.
oh, the people in Bombay.
Bombay. And at
Yeah.
that time I was in Chicago, but I joined in the webinar. And so he was a Buddhist monk too. And then I follow him as my teacher. And then he introduced me to you. And then I bought the book that you wrote, the book on anger.
Mm. Did you like it? Do you think it was well written?
Yes,
Did you recommend it to many people?
I do.
Oh, that one. Which one is that? Volume realize eight. Realizing the profound view. That's that and volume 5 are my favorite volumes. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I saw, I don't know where I saw this note about you visiting, I'm like, I have to go.
Mhm.
So thank you for the opportunity to see you in person, and I'm so, so grateful. And today is actually, I had a very rough day at work, so it's perfect, like Ocean of Compassion Buddhist Center, I think it was called. The stars aligned. So my question is, I know you're short on time, is so we talked about the 8 worldly concerns and the fact that we're in samsara, but we still need to pay our bills. We still need to have our reputation in check. We live in California where things are expensive. You can't avoid the material game, if I say so. As much as I want to go back to India and maybe pick, a monastery and just stay there, my karma calls me to be here. And the thing is that to rise above praise and blame, it's also written in the Bhagavad Gita, where treated alike. It's incredibly hard, and then to have compassion for people who you perceive have wronged you, because I also feel it's a matter of perception about maybe that person was doing a kind act to me by, I'm just saying that the whole process of life is so incredibly hard, and I'm very clear that I don't want to come back.
Mhm.
But I don't have time to meditate enough. I don't have enough time to read books. And of course, that's an excuse. Like people say, you make time for things that you value.
Yes.
And then you can,
You do.
and then they also say that you can practice meditation whilst you're busy and in a very busy life too. But my question is that the whole process is just so mind bending and, sometimes so heart wrenching and gut wrenching that it's so darn hard.
When your view of the world changes and you start thinking about future lives and being of benefit to others and what's really important, then a lot of these things that you're talking about, they don't pull on you very much. Yeah, it's like, eh. Yeah. And the more things you can say to, yeah, doesn't mean you dislike. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not attached. You're not an emotional yo-yo. I like it. I don't like it. I want it. I don't want it. But the more things you can just say, okay, there it is. Let it be. I enjoy it when it's there. When it's not there, that's okay. when I meet unpleasant circumstances, there are opportunities to learn, there are opportunities to practice. So when you have, through learning the Dharma and your mind starts to change, then a lot of the things that you thought were difficult or that other people think are difficult are not so difficult. Yeah. And then you make time for the things that are important to you. And some people like that, and some people will say, what happened to you? You used to be so much fun and go out. We used to have blah, 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 and here and there. And you knew all the art things at the art gallery and the latest music. And we were so much fun. And now, what do you do on your vacation? You go and look at your belly button for 2 weeks. What's happened to you? People at work say, huh? Good go. I had a good time. I went on a meditation retreat. No, we don't just look at our belly button.
I have a quick follow-up question. I'm sorry if I'm not taking any more time, but my follow-up question to you is when your teacher and you were profusely apologizing to your teacher and he had a very blah attitude, did you
Mhm.
think he lacked empathy or compassion?
Huh?
When you were
Oh, yes, I wanted some empathy, but he didn't give it to me. Yeah.
and how did that make you feel?
It made me think, why do I need somebody else's empathy to feel okay about what I did? Yeah, because what I did, actually, I was leading a meditation course, and spending my time doing that enabled meant I couldn't do these other things. Actually, what I was doing was virtuous. Why am I apologizing for not doing something else? Yeah. And why do I need somebody else to give me absolution? If I think I made a mistake, I should be able to be honest with myself and purify if I made a mistake. Yeah. It was a fantastic teaching. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has to be
Yeah.
the last question.
Yeah. Last question.
Okay, last question. Yeah, I try my best. I'm not native speaker, and about relationships with parents. You said, yeah, sometimes we want to be good with gratitude, grateful kid, right, for our parents. But our parents attached to us. Attachments, because of attachments, a lot of expectations, like,
Yep.
and trying manipulating you, controlling you, doesn't matter what's age, right? And yeah, we can cut attachment on many levels, crowd, like our people, our community. But what do you think about how we can train our mind with parents? Because if we want to not follow their manipulation, if we want to practice refuse, right, these 8 worlds, like
Yeah.
right, concerns, and it's destroying their expectations, they're
Mhm.
upset,
Mhm.
maybe not good karma, right, collectively. That's why this is my question. What do you think about relationships, how we can practice cut attachment to good reputation, to like
Yeah. And
right.
pleasing other people, especially parents. Yeah. We want to please our parents. We want them, we grow up in families sometimes where the amount of love we receive depends on how well we did in school or how well we did in sports or whatever. I know exactly what you're talking about because my parents did not think, when I was a baby, they did not say, oh, she's going to grow up and be a Buddhist nun and we'll be so proud of her. No, that wasn't what they had planned for my life. Yeah. But what they had planned for my life was I wasn't interested in, you know, and the Dharma really was quite meaningful to me in my heart. And when I thought, in the long term, if I do what my parents want me to do, get married, have babies, have a career, make a lot of money, yeah, go on cruises with them, things like that. If I do that, maybe they'll be happy this life, but the kind of karma I'm creating, I will go to a lower realm and I won't be of any benefit to anybody then. If I practice Dharma, they're not going to be happy, but in a future life, maybe I'll have some ability to really help them get out of samsara. So they weren't happy about my choice. But I learned something very important. If you give your parents time, they will grow up. It's true. If you give your parents time, they will grow up. And so for a long time, it was, you're becoming a what? Yeah. And you graduated 5 Beta Kappa to do what? Yeah. And then fast forward maybe 20 years. And then I was being invited to give talks at Dharma centers. And I told my mom about that. And, and then I hear her, she's on the phone with her friends. My daughter got invited she gives these talks on Buddhism. They pay for her airfare. They house her, they feed her. Yeah. They give something afterwards. My daughter's doing really well, And my brother, who thought I was out of my mind, in his office, he has a picture of me with the Dalai Lama. I'm not the important person. It's the Dalai Lama who's important, but he has a connection because his sister knows him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Separation.
Yeah.
1 degree of
Yes,
separation.
right. 1 degree of separation. So it's amazing, how what people think of you can really change. And, and my parents who, were not proud of me at all of a sudden were like, well, it wasn't all of a sudden, it took 20 years. But it was like, what she's doing was okay. Yeah. And my sister-in-law calls, we saw your book in a bookstore. Yeah. And we asked the guy at the desk about it. And he said, oh, yeah, this is a great book. Do you know the author? And then I said, this is my sister-in-law. Yeah. So I hear these stories. I was like, oh, yeah, that does not improve my life at all, but it gives them pleasure. But it took them a while, to shift. So I think sometimes when we have to live according to our own values and principles and really live from our heart, and sometimes other people aren't happy with it. I mean, look at the Buddha. When the Buddha left, you think his dad said, great, I'm glad that brat moved out of the palace? No, his father was totally freaking out because he was supposed to take over the kingdom and instead, my son, the sloth, went out, with on a white horse, and he took off his jewelry, he took off of all this finery, and he put on rags. What am I going to tell all the other kings around here? That my son just is a flake. So the Buddha did the same thing. Yeah. The important thing is, even if other people criticize us and don't like what we're doing, that we have a kind of attitude towards them. We're not trying to force them to like us. We don't need their praise. Yeah. Because there's confidence in our own hearts and minds that what we're doing is something worthwhile in the long run. Yeah. And we wish those people well. We don't hate them. We're not mad if they criticize us. We can still love them. And we just realize, people have want to live their life in different ways. Yeah. So I would still go to see my parents and, yeah. Okay, so we have to dedicate now. Do we have the verse to chant? Okay. So we should rejoice that we spent the time together, really doing something useful and meaningful and thinking about things that are important. So really rejoice at the merit recreated. Rejoice at the merit everybody here created. And then we dedicate that merit so that it matches our motivation of working towards Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
Due to
This merit may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.